As America reopens, we have seen an explosion in violence. More than 200 mass shootings this year alone. This past weekend, at least 75 people were injured in 13 mass shootings in 10 states. CBS's Jeff Pegues now on what's driving these numbers.
Witnesses say there was nowhere to run when someone started firing at a New Jersey barbecue.
This was something set up like it's almost like they trapped them in that yard.
When the firing stopped, at least 2 people had been killed and a dozen more injured. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy.
If there is one thing we can never normalize, it is senseless gun violence.
In Chicago, at least 47 people were shot, 9 dead since Friday. Among them, a 23-year-old woman and an 18-year-old man who were gunned down after a fight inside this convenience store spilled into the parking lot. There were at least 13 mass shootings in cities over the weekend. Many of the victims are children. In Charleston, South Carolina, a 14-year-old was killed and 13 others injured. Shootings are up across the country. New York City is up 56% this year. Philadelphia is up 34%. Los Angeles, 73%.
Every year as we come out of the winter season into the summer season, we have an increase in violence in many areas in the country. And add to that the pandemic.
In Minneapolis, Charlie Johnson was killed in the crossfire when 2 men pulled guns on each other.
Charlie B. Johnson.
The mechanical engineering student died just hours before his college graduation. With a heavy heart, his sister accepted the diploma on his behalf. So far this year, 7,500 people have died in the U.S. because of gun violence. That is a 23% increase over the same period last year, a 40% increase over 2019.
Good afternoon. We're coming on the air at this hour because there has been another deadly mass shooting in America, this one at a transportation facility in San Jose, California. Preliminary information is that there are multiple fatalities, multiple injuries. The shooter is also deceased.
Authorities have just released the name of the gunman who they say killed 8 people at a San Jose rail yard this morning. 2 law enforcement sources tell CBS News 57-year-old Samuel Cassidy, a Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority employee, started shooting people at a light rail yard around 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. Investigators say 8 employees were killed and several more injured. The accused gunman is also dead.
The Apostle Paul, in his epistle to Timothy, tells us in the last days society will be in a total immoral meltdown. 2 Timothy 3:1-5. But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come. For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power, and from such people turn away.
From multiple fistfights breaking out in the Miami airport over a standby seat on a plane, to a fight on board a plane in the air. To a passenger arrested for allegedly assaulting another customer. The suspect has pleaded not guilty. To a New York to San Francisco flight with a dangerous passenger.
Gesturing, stabbing motions towards the other passenger, and it was also observed erratic behavior and snorting a white substance.
The JetBlue plane forced to divert to Minneapolis.
This was the closest place to go, so we, as a team, made the decision to come here. So that's what happened.
This morning, federal authorities report bad behavior on board planes has nearly doubled since we first reported on the problem earlier this month. The FAA now investigating 2,500 reports of unruly, even dangerous behavior just since January 1st. 1,900 of those involving passengers who refused to comply with federal face mask requirements. A staggering jump from a typical year with just 150 confirmed cases. The FAA's zero tolerance policy now taking action against passengers nearly